Hey, it is your buddy, Peace and Harmony with you here today. Much love going out to all the beautiful, empowered harmonizers. We are zooming in and focusing in a little bit more in depth in terms of understanding the dynamic with someone who is malignant narcissist or even psychopathic. When people become very manipulative, they tend to have a trait which is sort of needing validation and the sort of neediness for you to reflect back to them their security, their strength. So, in other words, not that this becomes then a once in a while thing. The relationship with a malignant narcissist or psychopathic can be very dependent, where these individuals, by virtue of them creating a supply relationship, they become very needy of these individuals who are supply in the beginning, meaning they rely on you, they count on you, they look to you for specific favors, they look to you for specific opportunities to listen, they look to you to give them that sort of shot of courage, and even though it seems like they should be able to have this mechanism within of, being able to prop up their own ego, oftentimes the narcissist, the malignant narcissist, and the psychopath are very dependent on others. And just as a psychopath will profess, they need others. So not just, I need you guys to help me out. They need others to further their cause. Meaning, even though it's not in the best interest of the supply, the people who they surround themselves with, oftentimes those people, I think, begin to latch into and secure in the relationship because they feel needed. And if you have this quality or tendency to like to be needed, to feel that you are a valuable person because you are needed, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? Reflect back to me on this, reflect back to me on that. So it becomes sort of a pivoting around this narcissist or psychopath, needing reassurance. So needing others, and then others sort of latching onto that feeling of being needed, I think is also part of the component and dynamic of the relationship that keeps it going, even though it is abusive, even though it can be combative, and it might not get to that level sort of in the middle, but for a lot of people, things kind of begin to slip down. They, are always sort of needed by this person, and they don't feel wanted. And a relationship with a narcissist or a psychopath can oftentimes be either based on something superficial like lust, it's just sort of that superficial attraction. And some people might feel flattered by that, or they feel validated by sort of having that appeal. However, it's, a narcissist or a psychopath will burn through that. They will burn through lust. They don't really experience a love, of others and want to be loved the way that others want to be loved for who they are, not just their external appearance, not, just, some sort of passing trait. Beauty fades, muscles diminish, incomes change, people's hair is out of place, they might have this, that, or the other thing for, an illness or, other life change. And, someone who's in it for the superficial, oftentimes you find that they're not there to return like in return, meaning that they don't, in your time of need, they're, vanishing like a poof. They are not there. They are not reliable. They are not, you can't really count on them because they don't really take an interest. They don't take a passion in the relationship. It's more that they take a passion in themselves. They're taking a passion in furthering themselves, not to secure a relationship that is meant for the long haul. And this is why, a lot of people do stay on because they want to be needed. They don't feel wanted, though. And this can really be very hurtful, especially, in these relationships. It's after fleeting qualities, fleeting characteristics, just sort of, not being able to be sustainable, or not, part of a given. We care about each other. It's in your moment of pain, physical pain, emotional pain, illness, suffering, confusion, needing to discuss things with other people, and then, have someone get back to you on something. That feeling of, consistency or reliability oftentimes is missing in these dynamics. And so people will latch onto and evaluate their own valuation of self because they feel needed. So you have to kind of examine that, and to what degree has that quote unquote need to be needed not served you. And that, you don't need to always be sort of propagated to that support role, that you can be on the receiving role. You can be on the receiving end. It is okay for you to need others. It is okay for you to hurt. It is okay for you to have questions, to want to discuss things with your career, discuss things with politics, discuss things with religion, or things that you're exploring in your mind, to be able to discuss this and have a variety of conversations. You'll find, though, with the malignant narcissist and the psychopath, that they are generally going to be talking about themselves. And if you are sort of needed and feel needed and have sort of used that as your, emotional flotation device, then you have to realize that sometimes there are people out there who will take advantage of you because you are needed, and you evaluate your self-esteem this way. So you can get caught into a real, double bind where, not only are you emptying yourself, giving yourself, giving all of yourself, but you're not receiving, and you're not there for the reciprocity. And to some degree, there has to be some reciprocity in the relationship. There has to be some degree of certainty, some degree of reliance and predictability, and just like, it might not always be, things come up, but it should definitely be in the balance. And so, the dynamics can really wear on people and break people down. But, the reason why people then feel destroyed is because they've sort of, given themselves away to the extent that they haven't placed value. So giving of themselves too freely, giving of themselves too easily. To what degree do you just were you too generous? And these are all redeeming qualities. But if you're generous with someone who is generous in return, then things are functioning, things can flow, things are a go. They're on, they can move forward. You can grow. You can have appreciation of differences. You can have appreciation of similarities. You're not threatened, and it's not a big competition. It's not this tit for tat. I got you this time, you get me next time. So if you might then want to evaluate to what degree did you enter into a relationship, or are you continuing to try to enter in relationships just because you feel needed, and you're basing your self-esteem on this? Because if someone is, if you're basing your self-esteem and your reliance on the relationship on this, what happens when they take what they need and then they go, goodbye, thank you very much, I got what I needed? It does not feel very good. You feel like you're left empty-handed. You don't have anything to show for yourself. You don't have anything tangible, substantial. It's the old, style versus content. The relationship can be all appearances only. And then, especially people who have sort of this teetering self-esteem, these are the people who can oftentimes not realize that they are, running on low self-esteem, that they cover it up on the day-to-day basis, that because they don't value themselves in and of themselves, they didn't learn that, they didn't exercise that, they didn't feel okay with that, so they only feel okay by how can they, give of themselves to others, which is a noble cause, but, there's that saying, don't throw your pearls at swine. In other words, be careful that there are people who will take advantage of that. And so, some people have learned that lesson and some people have not. And it's okay to, put up the shore, put up the bridge, put up the, the dam and say, it's okay, I'm going to be conservative and not give myself away to that extent, and to learn how to manage that, to learn how to cope. Meaning, you've realized that you've over obligated yourself. You've become, too available. You've become too needed by this person to do their dirty work, or to do their work, or always talk about them, to always be their support, to the point that you don't get it in reciprocity. So people, then identify with the abuser, and then allow things to get into a tipping point, to get out of balance. So really look at that dynamic, and then explore within yourself to the degree that did you have low self-esteem, meaning you didn't really sort of value yourself and your needs and your standards, which means, you know what, I don't need to take that treatment. I don't need to be around this. There's got to be something better. If you have low self-esteem, then you're going to tolerate this abuse. This is all I deserve. This is all I can get. This is the best life is ever going to give me. If you're speaking those words into existence, then you're giving an ultimatum, and you're limiting the divine. You're limiting your receiving. You're limiting what you're going to experience. You're putting a self-limiting belief into place. And people don't, ever, they don't really quite, I think, underestimate the power of negative self-limiting beliefs and the degree to which they will hamper, hinder, and hold you back. And it can be as simple as, in a second's notice, or in an hour's notice. If you're operating this very quickly, I can't do that, the law of the lid, then you're talking yourself out of opportunity. You're talking yourself down. You're basically taking, the voice of what you've learned, and you're just reinforcing and rememorizing yourself, I can't. You're drilling that down. And who did you hear that original message from? Or are you, listening to the positive and then able to hold on to that? I feel that people who are in relationships with people who are malignant, narcissist, or psychopathic, even when there are positive traits about them, they just kind of brush it away. They don't really let it resonate. They don't really let it soak in. They don't really let it marinate. Hey, you're really good about this. You're really reliable here. You're a doll here. You're a gentleman here. You're all these, positive things that other people might have said to you, or that you might have felt. Oftentimes, if you're in a relationship with someone who is malignant, narcissist, or psychopathic, you'll, in order to keep, that cycle going, oftentimes people won't even see the exit when it's right in front of them, because their low self-esteem is holding them into that relationship in place because they feel needed, and they're afraid to sort of make that change. And it can be gradual, but beginning even to learn about it, become sensitive, become aware, and be conscious is an awesome first sort of mind opener for you. Don't give away all your attention. Don't give away all your affection. Don't give away all your eye contact. Don't give away all your laughter. Don't give away the floor. Don't give away your opportunities to people who are just going to take advantage of it, or, talk about you behind your back. Be able to determine and suss out what is the real and what is the genuine, and what is, them just telling you what you want to hear to keep you in that lower rung state. Because if you're, a lot of people are just, they're waiting to sort of bite on a crumb, from these people. It can be that bad. And then they feel, at least then, the tension is released. The tension is more about, are you able to stand on your own, and hold your own and hold that space? Or are you just sort of not attentive? Are you not operating in that awareness? Are you not operating in that reality? And are you not operating in that truth? It's very important for you to understand that intrapersonal and interpersonal dynamic. Intrapersonal meaning what's going on within you, and then how it affects the interpersonal, how you relate to others. This is a very important concept of psychology, and to be able to come neutral about changing. In other words, people are so afraid, they get it so worked up in their mind, I can't do it. They talk themselves out of it. They're running with the wind, or they're running with the negative self-limiting beliefs that they have, been indoctrinated to, begin to suss those out and tease those out and say, you know what, I'm not going to hold myself back. Those negative messages have had enough airtime. I'm going to go ahead and realize that and just become aware of it. To what degree was that a component in keeping you stuck and keeping you blocked and self-limited and held back? Be able to do that and then be able to experience a little bit more liberation, being free, and then being able to breathe easy and not have to over-obligate as a way to maintain a relationship. This is your buddy, Peace and Harmony, with you here today, and I hope that these videos do help. Please share, please subscribe, and please donate for more great tools, videos, discussion, and support. Have a beautiful day.